Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com. Today is June the 7th, 2017. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, the Anthony Joshua situation at heavyweight keeps getting more and more interesting. Right? IBF mandatory contender Kubrat Pulev refused to accept step-aside money. He actually wanted to fight Joshua, who is contractually bound to fight Vladimir Klitschko if Klitschko doesn't retire. Now, I'm just telling the public this because the public had Joshua favored over Vladimir Klitschko. I'm just telling you that, in my opinion, IBF mandatory Kubrat Pulev and WBA mandatory Luis Ortiz would both prefer to fight Anthony Joshua rather than fight Vladimir Klitschko, who already knocked out Kubrat Pulev. Right? So, to the fans who feel that Joshua is the future of boxing, right, what I want them to do is to just research why both Pulev and Ortiz were so strident in wanting to have their mandatory contender status upheld before the Vladimir Klitschko fight. Right? I think to lay people, we look at Joshua, we look at a 100% KO ratio. We look at the finish of his fight against Vladimir Klitschko. And we say, wow, this guy is a dominant champion. Right? I'm just saying there's another point of view out there. Right? Joshua is a bit green to me, at least. I want people to read Luis Ortiz's comments about the Joshua-Vladimir Klitschko fight. I believe that veterans, and both Pulev and Ortiz have been around for a bit. Right? Both are very experienced. The only loss between the two of them is Pulev's loss to Vladimir Klitschko. I believe veterans look at Joshua and see mistakes. Right? Joshua met with Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather invited him to come to the Mayweather gym in the United States to work on his defense. Not to sign autographs. To work on his defense. Right? Food for thought. Let's talk about Marcus Browne, who was a recent Olympian. Right? He's at light heavy. A lot of people are excited about him. He beat Thomas Williams after Adonis Stevenson beat Thomas Williams. Right? And, you know, Marcus Browne's been calling out Adonis Stevenson. Right? Browne wants to fight for the title at 175. His next fight is against Sean Monaghan. Right? Now understand, Monaghan is unbeaten, is about 9 years older than Marcus Browne, and has sparred extensively with Marcus Browne. Right? Marcus Browne is a slick southpaw, likes to move around the ring, operates behind a jab, right? Uses his jab to get his rhythm. Southpaw, operates with length. He's 6'1½". Right? Here's the thing, though, and I want people to look at this video. He fought a very edgy fight against a fighter who I feel, one man's opinion, has more upside than him. And let me read this off a piece of paper because I keep blowing the guy's name. Radivoje Kolajic. Right? I've put the video of the fight. Officially, it was a split decision for Marcus Browne. Right? I've put the video of the fight in my favorites folder here online. Right? Just know, as you bet on other fights, that this Kolajic guy is a live underdog in every fight he has, right? This is a guy who has an intuitive feel of distance, right? He has great reflexes. He's unorthodox. He doesn't have to throw jabs to know the distance between you and him. He actually knocks Marcus Browne down in the 6th round. That's important. If Browne's talking about fighting people like Adonis Stevenson, KO puncher, right? I thought Browne could easily have lost this fight. Referee makes a mistake. You'll notice they call a knockdown. They credit Browne with a knockdown of Kolaidish early in the fight. And what happened was Kolaidish actually slipped, hits the canvas. Browne then hustles over there and punches him while he's already down. Right? Now, it was a split decision. It's possible that the judges got fooled by that knockdown. There's no doubt about the 6th round knockdown. Kolaidish deals out on Browne. Right? Now, I'll just say, Browne has fought pretty good competition. Browne has power, greater than 60% KO ratio. Right? But to me, one man's opinion, we're a little hard here online, right? He's a bit predictable. I don't see the part of his game that stands out that much. I thought Kolaidish, this is the fight 2 fights ago, right? The fight before he fights Thomas Williams. I thought Kolaidish landed some meaningful shots against him, right? Very hard shots. And I see Browne on his back foot. He's decent defensively, but in my opinion, he's not great defensively. Right? His power is pretty good. It's not great. Right? Don't confuse him with Adonis Stevenson. I believe this is a fight you have to hedge because Monaghan is very front foot heavy. Has a decent jab, likes to back you up, has a very good right hand up top. Right? Very good right hand up top. You have to view a fighter who's unbeaten in his mid-30s as a hungry fighter. This is the chance of a lifetime for him. Right? Because should he lose this fight, he may never get this opportunity again. He's too old. You lose a fight in your 20s, people will say, okay, well, you could build yourself back up. You have time. When you don't have time in your mid-30s, right, when the people around you are looking at you and are saying, hey, you're taking up our time I could be spending with a younger fighter, right, when your family's looking at you and saying, Dad, how long are you going to hold on to this dream? You understand you really have to fight with a sense of urgency that a guy in their 20s might not have to. So, I am expecting, because Marcus Browne is faster, both foot speed and hand speed, because Marcus Browne is faster than Sean Monaghan, and I have his highlights in my favorites folder here as well, right? I'm expecting Marcus Browne to win the fight. But, right, I thought he barely made it to the end of the 8-round match against Kolaidish. Right? Understand, that fight was supposed to be 10 rounds. It got shortened to 8 rounds because the main event went over. And they were fighting on network television. Right? The fighters wanted the fight on TV. This fight against Monaghan is a 10-round fight. Right? I believe because Monaghan has sparred with Marcus Browne, right? He's not going to be that thrown by Browne's southpaw orientation, length, movement, and defensive skills. He will have seen all of that already. He's not going to take 4 rounds to figure out what Browne is doing. He knows what Browne is doing. Right? So to me, The way to play this fight is to take Browne to win. This is only if the odds allow. If they don't, walk away. It's to take Browne to win. But to hedge the play with Monaghan by KO. Right? Be careful here. I can tell you, I was raised in Queens, New York City. I used to go to concerts at Nassau Coliseum. Right? Nassau Coliseum is in Long Island. Right? Understand, New York City is balkanized. Right? The, New York Islanders don't consider themselves to be Manhattan's team. That's the New York Rangers. Right? Staten Island, where Marcus Browne is from, is practically a foreign country when you're out on the island. Right? Sean Monaghan is going to have a lot of people at the arena. In my opinion, he's going to have more people rooting for him than Marcus Browne, the Staten Islander, is going to have rooting for him at the event. Keep in mind, to get to Staten Island, unless you're going to take the long bridge over there, I think it's Verrazano Narrows Bridge or something, you have to get there by taking the Staten Island ferry. Right? I have a hard time believing a lot of Staten Islanders are going to say, hey, honey, let's go cross through Brooklyn and Queens so we could go see the local fighter fight at Nassau Coliseum. Now, I'm just telling you, out on Long Island, it's different. Right? People from Nassau and Suffolk County, they're going to say, oh, Nassau Coliseum, let's go there. Right? I believe the underdog here is going to have the crowd. I believe the underdog here is not going to have the learning curve that a stranger against Marcus Browne would have. Right? So to me, as part of your hedge, you need to have, and I don't care how long the odds are, right? I'm assuming Sean Monaghan by KO is going to get you long odds. Right? You need to have Monaghan by KO as part of your hedge, right? Browne, when he's healthy, right, when he's fully rested, should win most of the first half of the fight. But he might wilt, right? He was down against Kalidish. He looked bad against Kalidish. That's a split decision. In a rematch, I'd probably take Kalidish, right? As for Thomas Williams, the guy he beat, dramatic fashion, multiple knockdown match, Williams was coming off of a devastating loss to Adonis Stevenson. That first fight back is always hazardous. I don't know how Thomas Williams' management team could have decided to put him right after a loss to Stevenson in against an unbeaten Olympic alum. Right? So, let's just say, right, in my opinion, the jury's still out on Marcus Browne. He's a slick, tall southpaw who can fight on his back foot, who has a greater than 60% KO ratio, has a pretty good jab, right, is able to move and use length against you. But I see nothing remarkable about the guy. I don't see any outsized punching power. I don't see anything that's kind of unpredictable. Right? So to me, he's vulnerable. Right? I'm not buying the unbeaten record because, in my opinion, he lost to Kalidish. Right? So I like Marcus Browne, who's going to be a big favorite here, to win the fight. But I believe you need to hedge the play with Monaghan by KO. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section to this video. Thanks for stopping by.